Hello class, the first task of today's lecture is to make histogram in Excel. Okay, so here is the spreadsheet that I opened for our example. What we're going to use is under the data table. There will be a data analysis tool that can help us to build histogram. But currently you are not seeing that tab named analysis. We need to add in from the option of the file manually. So first you go to the file and then click options. Now select the add-ins and at the manage, here's the Excel add-ins. So you click go and then the first one, analysis 2-pack, is the add-in that we need. So you check this analysis 2-pack and click OK. Now you can see that we have a tab of this add-in under the data tab. Here's the analysis, data analysis. Okay. And for our example, we use the same one as the daily billing hours of a company. So the first column is days, and I use I as the index for each day. So I could be 1, 2, 3 up to 52 because we have 52 days of our records. So as you can see, in the first column is stands for the days 1, 2, 3 up to 52. And for the second column is our data. It records the daily billing hours XI. So XI stands for the daily billing hours in day I. For example, there is 0 billing hours in day 1. There are 5 billing hours in day 10. Okay, and this data is going to be our input range in the histogram. We also need to define the classes. The classes in Excel is given a name of bin, so we need to give the bin range. These numbers are actually defining the upper bound in each class. So I put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. And this stands for, so this 0 means the class that takes any data value that is less than or equal to 0. And this 1 stands for, so 1 is the bin next to 0, and therefore this 1 will carry all the values that is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 1. And the same logic will apply for all the following bins. In this case, because everything is integer, so when you're interpreting these ranges, then less than or equal to 0 just stands for 0, right? Because we're just going to take the integer value. And if an integer value is between 0 and 1, and it cannot take 0, it must be strictly greater than 0 and less than or equal to 1, then the only integer value in this range is 1, right? Okay, so now we have our input range and bin range. We click the data analysis tool, and we can see a bunch of analysis tools here. What we need is the histogram. So you click on histogram and click OK. So here's the input that you, the fields that you need to input to form this histogram. So the input range is our data points. Therefore, you select all the data. Okay. So I stop at the 52 data, at the daily billing hours on the 52 days. And you also need to give the bin range, which we already defined here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the range is from cell D3 to cell D8. And for the output, so because I want everything to be on the same sheet, and therefore I want the output range to be on the same sheet, so you just specify a cell that will be not overlapped with your current cell. So for example, I choose H1. So the output chart will be start from H1. The table will be start from H1. This defines the upper left corner of my output table. And if you choose the second option, if you choose the new worksheet player, then it just gives you the result on a new sheet, like sheet 2. And if you choose the new workbook, then it will put your the output, the histogram, on a new workbook. So for the purpose of our class, it's better to choose the output range on the same sheet so you can see everything all together. And here are 3 checkboxes. So if you check the Pareto, then it will give you the sorted histogram. So the output will have the largest frequency class in the left, and then the least frequency class on the right. If you click cumulative percentage, then besides the columns, the histogram also have a curve for the cumulative percentage. And it is sometimes useful to see this. So this time I click, I check this box. And it is very important to check the chart output, because if you don't choose this option, then the output will only be a table, like the frequency distribution table in each class, but there will be no histogram. So if you choose chart output, then that will output you the histogram, the picture. Okay, so now we're good with everything, with the input, with the output options, and we click OK. So now you can see the output table will start from H1 as I specified. So the bin is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the second column of the second column shows the frequency of each bin. Right, so there are 15 days that is having no billing errors, and there are 20 days that is having 1 daily billing error, etc. And the Excel automatically put a more class here, so it just stands for anything that is more than the last bin range. So everything greater than 5 will be counted in this class. And because we already defined the range from 0 to 5, so this class is actually not useful. So here's a histogram. I can make it larger to see it clearly. So we have a column associated with each class, right? And then the height of the column stands for the frequency, like 15 days without billing daily errors, 8 days with 2 billing daily errors, and this orange curve shows the relative cumulative frequency. So this is the secondary vertical axis where you should read your cumulative percentage. So it starts with the 28.85% here in the first class, and then it jumped up to 67.31% in the next class. So this is the relative cumulative curve will go up until 100% at the last class. And if you want to see, if you think this more category looks too bothering, then you can delete this row, and it will automatically delete the column here for the more, because that's not useful for our analysis. And here we go, finished making the histogram in Excel. Next, I'm going to show you how to get the cumulative relative frequency. So I want to show you how the cumulative percentage is computed given this frequency in different classes. So first, let's put the sum of all the frequencies. So you choose the range of all the classes frequencies using the sum formula to find the total number of data points, that is 52. And the relative frequency is computed as the frequency of this class divided by the total number of data points. And because we're going to copy this formula to the other classes, we need to fix this I11, this total, because the denominator will not be changed in our calculation. Therefore, you click here on the I11, you can click it in the cell or in this window, and then you just press F4, the button F4, and then it will put two $signs. One is before the I, one is before the 11, so that gives this cell an absolute address, and it will not be changed when we're copying the formula. So now click Enter. This is the relative frequency of the class 0. So now you put the cursor at the lower right corner in this cell, and then you drag it down to copy the formulas. So now, as you can see, the frequency for the class is changing. So when I'm copying down the formula, the row number will increase as I copy it down, but this denominator is not changing. It's still I11, the total number of data points, because I used the $signs to fix the address of this cell. Okay, so you can see that it's only the enumerator is changing. Okay, so this is the relative frequency. It shows the percentage of the frequency of each class out of the total number of data points. So if I put it into a percentage sign, and you can increase the number of decimal points. So now you can interpret this column as, for example, there are 15.38% of the days that are having 2 daily billing errors. So now I want to compute the cumulative relative frequency. And there are two methods to do that. So the first is to use the sum of your relative frequency, right? So for the first class, it's just the sum from K4 to K4. Sorry, K4 to K4, which just means the sum of this one cell. So it's just same as the value of K4. What we are going to use this redundancy here is that we need to fix this K4. So we fix the beginning range of the sum, and then we let the ending cell of the sum to be changing when we're copying this formula. So now if I copy it down, you can see that for the class 1, this is the sum of K4 and K5. So this is the cumulative relative frequency up to class 1. And if you read this number, that means 67.31% of the days are having less than or equal to 1 daily billing errors. Okay, and you can copy this down, and this formula will automatically fill in. So for example, in the last class, we still fix the beginning cell of the range, and then the ending range of the sum is now become K9. So it sums up all this relative frequency in all classes. Okay. Another method is that instead of using the sum, you can use the cumulative relative frequency of the last class plus the relative frequency of your current class to find the cumulative relative frequency of your current class. So this is like, of course, the first cell is still the cumulative relative frequency for the first class is the same as its relative frequency. For the second one, this equals to the cumulative relative frequency of the last class plus the relative frequency of the current class. You hit enter. This will give you the same result as in the method 1. And when you copy it down, because we're not fixing any cell, so all the cells are relative address. Therefore, when you copy it down, for example, you copy this M4 plus K5 to the next row, and then it will show you with M5 plus K6. Let's have a look. Here, M5 plus K6. So now, the percentage of days that are having less than or equal to 2 daily billing errors is equals to this relative frequency in day for class 2 plus the cumulative relative frequency up to class 1. Right, so this is M5 plus K6. And you can check the formula is correct for all the following cells. Okay. This is the way that the cumulative percentage is computed. So we are going to have our first assignment in this semester is to make histogram in Excel. And let's have a look. So here's the instructions for our assignment. On sheet 1, this sheet, the column A is the index for students, and the column B is the birth month of each student in our class. So we have a total of 22 data points. And in column D, you need to define the correct bin range so that it can classify the birthday month into 12 months. And the output range of your histogram should be H1. After you get the histogram, in the column K, you need to compute the cumulative frequency in each class. So what I need to emphasize is that this cumulative frequency is not the same as cumulative relative frequency. So this should be a number instead of a percentage. If you're not clear about the definition of cumulative frequency, you should go back to see our slides. And after you finish the assignment, you need to rename the file as histogram assignment 01 and your last name. So the due date for this assignment is September 9th, the next Tuesday, and you should submit it via Dropbox or Moodle. So I do not accept the late work, so please submit it on time. And good luck with the first assignment.